What's cracking, everybody? I'm AliasV, co-host of the casual commander show Elder Dragon Hijinks and play-by-play commentator for the Pro Tour. Today I'm going to take you through the 4 main deck archetypes in Magic and show you a couple examples of those decks doing their thing in-game. The first archetype is my personal favorite, Aggro, or aggressive decks. Aggressive decks like to get in, get the win, and get out, using cheap creatures and spells to do the most amount of damage in the shortest time possible. A typical game sees the aggro player emptying their hand of threats early and often, and as such they won't usually win if a game goes long and their threats are cleanly answered. Aggro decks are great for new players as their game plan is pretty straightforward. Go fast, go face. They're usually monocolored, mostly red, and always a blast to play when your draws are kind and your opponents don't have any board wipes. The next archetype on the other end of the spectrum is Control. Where aggro decks want to win quickly, Control decks aim to draw games out as long as possible by countering and removing threats until they stabilize, switch gears, and overwhelm the opponent with card advantage and board presence, just as my opponent did in this game. Control decks are typically blue and another color, where the blue cards provide card draw and disrupt the opponent's game plan, while the secondary colors, such as black or white, handles removal. Experienced players usually have more success with control decks as they're familiar with the metagame and know which threats need answering in different decks. Mistakes are much more punishing when you play a control deck, so understanding what your opponent's next turns may look like is crucial. Up next, we have the archetype that's always looking for all the value, Midrange. Midrange strategies adopt all of the best bits from Control and Aggro, resulting in the ability to outgrind the aggro decks while being able to pressure the control decks quickly with efficient threats. Midrange decks come in all shapes and sizes, with some leaning more towards the aggro playstyle while others take the more controlling approach. Players who enjoy a challenge will find midrange decks extremely satisfying to pilot because your game plan is constantly shifting and you need to be able to adapt with each new deck that you face. The last of the main archetypes is Combo. Aggro, Control, and Midrange can be classified as fair decks because you know what to expect when you're up against them, and they're not just going to win out of nowhere. Combo decks, on the other hand, do just that if you aren't able to stop them from doing the thing. The thing could be as simple as a 2-card combo or something extremely convoluted and complicated, kind of like what my opponent is doing here. In this game, my opponent is going through a mill combo where their objective is to get Omniscience out as early as possible to find and replay Jace the Perfected Mind, resulting in my library getting milled out. I've got no answer for this, so my opponent will win without ever attacking with a creature. Most combo decks will look to circumvent the traditional way to win a game, doing so once they have all the combo pieces that they need. The more resilient and consistent the deck, the more success the player will have with it. So are you all in on aggro or keen on control? Give all the archetypes a go in Magic the Gathering Arena and you'll soon know which playstyle suits you best. Thank you so much for watching, good luck in your games, and most importantly, have fun.